Welcome back to the NAV Network for another edition of Real Talk. I am your host, Joshua Vandernoord. Happy to once again be joined by my esteemed panel, Jack, aka Kinoflex, and John Ward of John Ward Cinematics. John, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Josh. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Glad to hear it. How about you, John? How about you, Jack Kinoflex? We'll cut that out, or it's going in the bloopers.
There are only two of us, and you screwed it up.
The J's throw me off. John, Jack, Josh, it's too much.
Yeah, I understand all of our names can get confusing at times since they all start with J's. But regardless, I'm happy to have another show with you guys, especially for today's show where we're going to sink our teeth into today's film.
Hey, that was good. That was good. Not rehearsed. You beat me to it. I was going to say we've got John, Jack, and Josh, and a fourth J joining us today, and that is, as you can see kind of behind Kinoflex's head, we're going to be talking about Jaws, but specifically the prompt from last week, which we're talking about now, is creature feature. And there was a few times I caught myself typing up a text to send you guys saying, here's what counts, here's what doesn't count. But I was like, you know what? I just kind of want to see what everyone picks. I want to see what everyone does. So I'm really excited to get into the stoplight portion of today. But a creature feature, for those who can't guess from the name, it's a movie where it is, in most cases, it is people dealing with some sort of problem. And in this case, the problem is some sort of animal, alien, beast, or strange creature of some kind. So we, of course, went with probably the most famous creature feature in existence, Steven Spielberg's. So, gentlemen, John, I'll start with you. Anything you want to add on your definition of creature feature and why? Where does Jaws sit with you? Because this is one of those movies that, jumping the gun here a little bit, I think Jaws is one of the few movies that classifies as, in my opinion, a perfect film. So I actually had a hard time coming up with a green pick for this. So, John, I get the feeling, we haven't talked about this yet, but I get the feeling you're going to be the naysayer on this. What's your opinion on Jaws?
Jaws is a perfect film is a bold statement. I don't know that I would agree that there's any such thing. That being said, it is an excellent film. I would kind of agree. I would say the consensus amongst cinephiles is that it is the best creature feature ever made. However, there was a lot of unintentional things that went into making Jaws what it is. And what it is a film that definitely transformed popular cinema in a lot of ways. And of course, one of the first films that kind of learned that sort of Hitchcockian idea of less is more when it comes to a monster, although that wasn't on purpose initially. But and then you have the John Williams score, he would do Star Wars also. We've all heard of him. Robert Shaw is my dog. He was a drunken, raging alcoholic. He basically was Quint in real life. Him and Richard Dreyfuss hated each other in real life.
You got city hands, Mr. Hooper. Been counting money all your life.
All right. Hey, I don't need this. I don't need this working class hero crap.
Just like their characters did. A lot came together to make Jaws a really great movie. So, perfect. I don't know about that, but the best creature feature, I definitely agree. It was really hard to come up with a green pick. I did have one. I don't know that I really say it's better. It's different, but we'll get there when we get there. Jack, what do you think?
Yeah, so I agree with both of you guys. Jaws is an excellent film. But Josh, I was actually really glad that you brought up what it means to be a creature feature, because that's a question I was pondering over. Because while it's true that the monster aspect is a staple of is an obvious staple of the creature feature, what I find is an equally important staple is the plot structure. So typically, in the first act, you have the characters being built up, and as well as the danger of the monster or creature or whatever threat being built up. And then in the second act, the monster strikes, but the human characters, if they're smart, that is, or if they're smart, they understand how the creature operates and they develop a plan on how to deal with it, which leads us into the third act where they either succeed or fail. So it's a pretty straightforward plot structure. And you'd be surprised with a lot of films that try to expand on this but fail. I kind of agree with John. That's not necessarily a perfect movie, but I would call it a staple of American cinema, absolutely, because it. He also touched upon this, but the production, the work it took to create Jaws, was like a hurdle, a massive hurdle for Steven Spielberg, and maybe we can get into that. But Jaws is a very just as well as being a pretty solid movie, writing wise. It's pretty inspirational how it was even made at all.
Yeah, and I agree. To the point about a perfect movie, we won't get off too much on a tangent here, but screw it. We are recording this. We can do whatever we want. So how I define a perfect movie is, I know this is like kind of a hotly debated thing where it's like there's no such thing as a perfect movie. I disagree, because what I basically define as a perfect movie as a movie where, when you isolate what it is and how it was made and how it turned out, for you to change any one thing would only take away from the final product. So, like, for example, two instances I give are Jaws. Like, is Jaws better than Casablanca? Is it better than The Godfather in a cinematic, artistic sense? No. But for a shark movie where guys fight a shark, it could not have been any better. The characters are great, the drama is great, the suspense is great, and I can't think of one thing that I would change about it to make it any better.
The fact that what makes this movie so good is half on accident makes me a little hesitant to say it was perfect.
Mm.
I judge the
think
art, not the artist. I agree. I mean,
Well,
Star Wars
that's
is a great
fair
example.
point. You're telling me after 50 years you couldn't go watch Jaws and find a single frame that could be slightly better? I mean, come on.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Like,
There's a shot in there, Josh, where if the camera had been tilted 1 arc minute to the left, it would have been a more beautiful shot.
Yeah, but that can be said of any film.
I'm joking.
Yeah, like in due time, in a couple decades, who knows? Maybe the classics, people will look at them and say, "These are pretty shit." Like, they could have been way better with the technology we have now.
Yeah, it does hold up well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
But,
kind of my point. But getting into it, starting from the very beginning, Chrissy on the beach. I still have family members telling me about how no one was afraid to go in the water until this movie. This movie got people out of the beach for years to come, and it's easy to see why with the first scene where, as John rightly points out, the shark was originally intended to be featured a whole lot more, but the mechanical shark was busted. It kept breaking. There were so many technical difficulties that you end up hardly seeing it at all. And so,
Yeah.
with that, I don't know if the shark was even intended to be seen in the opening scene, but it's a very scary thing where she's swimming. It was.
The opening scene was this whole movie initially was much like more campier horror gore kind of thing.
Mhm.
And then a bunch of shit went wrong. Number one, I believe it was supposed to be a 50-day shoot, and it ended up being about 160 days. It went over 100 days over the shooting schedule.
Mhm.
But the effect that had is it did force Spielberg to creatively resolve a number of the issues. And you're right, there was 3 versions of the mechanical shark. Number one, they called it Bruce. I think it was nicknamed
Right.
after Spielberg's lawyer. But the shit kept breaking so much that it essentially, rather than show the shark, he had to suggest it, I believe was his words. And then once he started doing that, he realized, holy shit, this is not a campy, gory horror movie. This is like a really fucking scary suspense movie. But yeah, the opening scene, which is what we were talking about, was supposed to be like, you see the shark, you see gore, you see blood. Wasn't really working, and then Spielberg had the idea of tying cables, I think, to the actress's legs, and he personally was the one like jerking her underwater, so she didn't even kind of know when it was going to happen. And then yeah, you don't do you even see the dorsal fin? I don't know that you do in the opening scene.
You do not. The opening scene, you don't see any. You if you didn't know this was Jaws, you were watching. You'd probably guess it was a shark because it's the ocean, but you wouldn't know for certain.
But it's actually Peter Benchley, the author of the book, who said he realized that that he touched a nerve. And the ocean is this instinctually fearful thing for humans and mammals. And then you have like this glossy, tranquil surface underneath which your imagination can run wild. It can be the worst possible thing you can imagine. And so it Jaws, like, you can't remake Jaws because now we've all seen the shark movie. It identified this not yet touched upon concept, which is that people are fucking scared of shit in the ocean and like what's below your feet. And oh my God, something just touched me. And then the execution, I'd say I'd somewhat agree. I mean, it's close to as perfect as it can be. It's you don't really see the thing, and that makes it so much worse than if you did see it.
Yeah, your imagination is the ones is hyping it up in your head. So, and that ends up being much scarier than seeing the real thing. And that was the magic of this movie all throughout, because this was, I believe, Spielberg's second major film. In his early on his career, like really early on in his career. And
he
so
was 20. He was 26. I think.
26.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so
This was his big break.
Yeah, it was his big break. He wasn't even the studio's first pick. It was he was their third pick. Like, the previous director got canned because he wanted the shark to be a whale, and they said, get the fuck out of here. Yeah. So Spielberg was brought on, and he was like, he kind of tried to leave at first, but because of all these contracts and like the Screenwriters Guild, he was pretty much forced to continue on with it. So he was like pulling his hair out, trying to figure out how to make this a success story. So, and Josh, you previously mentioned, like, with a malfunctioning shark, it was constantly taken out for repairs that took around days to weeks to fully repair. So Spielberg had to come up with ways of showing the shark, which, even though this is like to communicate how little we see of the shark in the film, it's a 2-hour film. We only see the shark for about an estimated 3 to 4 minutes, I'd say. That is how little we see of it. And if you've never seen Jaws, you're probably thinking, what? That's a scam. This is a shark movie and we barely see the shark. But that's where Spielberg's genius comes in, because, as both John and Josh have mentioned, he used ingenious methods to replicate the shark without showing the shark. So they taught to show to give the impression of it underwater. Spielberg would tie some barrels to a boat and drive it at full speeds to make it appear as though it's a shark, and just to quickly pull people underwater to get with like a fake blood splurting all everywhere. And that's fucking scary. Like, you don't need to show a shark to communicate that this is dangerous. And it was just a really ingenious way of making communicating something on screen without blowing a massive budget on it. And that's what made Spielberg really attractive to studios for future movies. It also helps that this film, when it released in theaters, made 50 times its budget. So there's that too.
There is that too. But I want to hone in specifically on one of the examples you gave to both of your points about Spielberg's genius and also the accidental hit that was this film. Is originally, they had a version of the animatronic shark that could move underwater. And what originally was supposed to do is, when the three men were on the ship, the Orca, hunting the shark, they were just going to chase it. You would see its fin, and they were going to follow after it with a gun and shoot at it. But because the animatronic shark kept malfunctioning, they had to come up with something else. And as Jack pointed out, one of the methods that they, now we're getting into the movie, one of the methods that Quint, the shark hunter, uses to wear out the sharks is he'll shoot them with a harpoon attached to a barrel that floats. And this is so when they try to go down, it keeps them up, and it wears them out eventually. It's like fishing without him having to do any work. So what they did was they filmed the scene where they would shoot the shark with the barrels, and then the shark would go, and all you would see is the barrel. You wouldn't see the shark's fin at all. And so this actually ended up being better than the original intent, because it showed exactly the point. You see the shark, You know the shark is there, but it also shows how powerful the animal is, how powerful this shark is. It's able to pull 3 of these barrels underwater for an extended period of time. And then there's the following scene where when it goes under the water with 3 barrels in it, all of the men are like genuinely shocked. They're terrified. And John, you said you're pulling up Jaws facts?
A little bit. I'm cheating a
Okay,
little bit.
I've got one. So there was a Jaws Unleashed video game that came out in like 2002 or something like that for the PlayStation 2. I had this game as a kid and it was super fun. And in the loading screens, it had little facts about the movies. And John, you brought up the writer. Apparently, there was a tiff where the writer and the writer of the book and Steven Spielberg actually got into an altercation on set and they kicked him out of the movie. Like it was his baby. It was his book that they were adapting into a movie, but him and Steven Spielberg got into a fight and they got rid of the dude.
Yeah, I've heard of this before. He tried writing several different screenplays, but none of them worked out, so he kind of just gave up. And the guy who ended up writing the screenplay for it was a complete unknown at the time. I think he was he wrote scripts for the actors, like dialogue scripts, but he wasn't really well known for writing screenplays.
He was actually more known for, I think what kind of happened specifically was, Benchley's scripts didn't work out. Spielberg wanted a little more levity in it. He didn't want it to just be so somber. So he hired a comedy writer, Carl Gottlieb, to kind of like inject some, because again, great suspense. It's all about contrasting points. Like that's why most horror movies start off with like happy, dumb, sexy college kids and stuff. It's setting up a contrast for the horrible shit later. And a great tense movie is not just a linear escalation of the tension. It builds you up, but then it lets you off. It's like a roller coaster, right?
Yeah,
it's
like
not
the
just a
soundtrack.
gigantic fucking falling straight down one time feels whatever. But if it's doing all kinds of stuff, it's a lot more fun. So
Yeah, another good analogy would be the soundtrack, like how it gradually builds up.
yeah, and even you were talking about the barrels being used to indirectly signify the shark. The soundtrack, that the shark has a theme, right? And we all fucking know it. It's 2 notes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I don't know if we
Instrumental.
can. I don't know if we can play it on YouTube, but if we can, here it is.
Dun-dun,
Mimic it.
But
dun-dun.
to your point, John, excuse me, on the soundtrack also, I also love like the scenes where they're on the orca and they're chasing Jaws or Bruce. The maritime just like sailor jingles, they're like all around it's a fun movie.
100%.
I totally agree.
So I guess we'll go ahead and transition into the performances because I mean we could talk about what happens in the movie. Everyone has seen Jaws. Like everyone knows what we're talking about. But this is a movie I actually give credit because there's so many movies that I lose my immersion. In fact, it's most movies because all of the actors are actors, as in they look like they're handsome, they're pretty, they don't look like human beings. And this is something that everyone really gives the Coen brothers a lot of credit for, like No Country for Old Men. All of the side characters in that movie look like people from Texas. They don't look like a actor playing a country bumpkin. They look like a country bumpkin, It looks like they just went into the middle of agricultural Texas and just plucked a farmer out and threw him in front of a camera. And that's what I feel. I actually feel that way about this movie. This is probably one of Steven Spielberg's best casted films. Chief Brody, he looks like an Italian American cop who just moved from New York. Quint, World War II vet who's from Middle America but hates sharks now. The scientist, a young Jewish guy, curly hair, very kind of arrogant, but also funny. And the mayor, too. The mayor's performance cannot be understated.
Well, Rob, so I think my favorite character in Jaws has got to be Robert Shaw's character, Quint, right? The grizzled old sea captain.
Mine too.
He's he's an English British actor. He is not that kind of guy at all.
I did know that, which when I found that out, I was surprised to learn.
But like, just like the directors weren't the first choice and the screenplay wasn't the first choice, I don't think any of these actors were the first choice either.
I think Shaw, instead of Shaw, Lee Marvin was supposed to play the role of Quint.
It was actually, I think, so the Chief Brody's role was initially, I believe, offered to Robert Duvall,
Mm-hmm.
and he said no,
Ah.
but he would play Quint, but they didn't want him to play Quint. And then I think Charlton Heston said he would do Chief Brody, but then Spielberg thought he would overshadow the film.
Yeah, like all these casting like was done very last minute.
Oh, and
like
and then
a week of filming.
Dreyfuss had just finished a movie. God, I can't remember what it was, but he thought it was going to suck.
Yeah, he thought it was going to flop.
And so he initially had turned down Jaws, but then when he finished that movie and saw a screening of it, he's like, I need to get another job before anybody sees this movie. And so
Well,
he immediately agreed to do Jaws. The film that Dreyfuss was in that he thought was going to suck was The Apprenticeship of Duddy Kravitz. And he had just seen a pre-release screening and was like, fuck, this is going to be terrible. And so he had already turned down. He called back Spielberg and was like, no, I want to do it. And so he did. And then that actually ended up creating fiction. So that movie came out while they were filming Jaws. And Robert Shaw, playing Quint, got pissed at how positive the reviews were for Dreyfuss. And so they just like those characters go at it on the boat, and then like they were really fucking fighting with each other in real life.
you
And
get
then,
city
of course,
hands, Mr. Hooper.
yeah. And Robert Shaw was like a raging alcoholic. Like, and he just a crazy. I think he was. He had to keep leaving production to go to Canada because he was like evading American taxes.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was doing all kinds of crazy shit. And then there's a sort of urban legend that famous monologue scene he does about the sinking of the Indianapolis, that he was
Yeah.
like genuinely hammered during that. I think what actually happened is he did get hammered and they tried to film it, but he was way too hammered. And so they came back the next day and shot it sober. And I believe there is like one clip from the drunken take that they did use, but the rest are actually from when he's sober.
The way I heard it, which I've heard the same thing, where it's like, no, that's not how it happened. This is how it actually happened. Is like what you said, John, where they were supposed to film it, and like you said, they were already way behind in production. And Steven Spielberg had amassed a reputation as being like a genuinely kind person. Like he was kind of the heart and soul of the crew almost. And Robert Shaw really liked him. And he had heard from somebody else that Steven Spielberg was pissed off and very upset, almost to the point of tears, with how shooting that day went. And he felt so bad, he apologized to him when he sobered up. And then the next day is when he gave that top-notch performance.
Okay. Makes sense. That sounds about right. But I mean, I'm a fan of crazy actors and stuff if they can properly channel it. And I just, again, I mean, Robert Shaw's British. He's putting on this fake American sea captain fucking scruffy guy thing. But the performances are always better, in my opinion, if there's like a little bit of real shit going on behind the scenes. And I don't care how good you are at acting. If like your character is supposed to fight with a guy and you really fucking hate that guy, it's going to be better, I think. But I also like I like how Jaws fundamentally is these three guys who all like, it's the idea of leaving the safety of land to go out into the ocean to hunt the monster is sort of similar to the concept of like going out into the woods to find the lair of the bear or something like that. Like it's just a spiritually masculine adventure, I think. And again, like Chief Brody has to leave his wife behind, and there's the scene where he's boarding and she hears all the fucked up shit Quint is saying, and it like bothers her. Like it's not a place for women on that boat, if that makes sense. But you have, well, just to finish the thought, that you have three, like you have Quint who's almost like dying. Like he's like the dude who's already dead, and he's just like out there hunting monsters. It's all that's left of him after his war experience. And then you have the young Hooper contrasting that, who's sort of trying to solve this scientifically and logically. And then in the middle of that, you have Chief Brody, who's sort of the family man protecting his community. So even though they're all in the same boat for the same amount of time chasing the
But
same monster, they each have their own story, if that makes sense.
right.
Like Shaw or Quint wants revenge, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and on top of being a veteran of World War II, he has this like obvious trauma that came about because he saw his fellow soldiers getting eaten by a shark.
And then he becomes a shark hunter.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean? Like that's
Yeah,
you could have
like
there's a whole story there.
Yeah, that's the reason.
Yeah.
Like, we'll look at this as a modern retelling of Moby Dick with him as Ahab.
There's a lot of elements of Moby Dick in it.
Yeah, and just like Moby Dick, the film kind of touches upon how this fight against nature can be like at times a losing battle because the shark isn't it's just a beast. It's not a conscious person who's doing this out of spite or anything. It's just doing this because it's hungry.
Yeah, and you hear that that's the dichotomy with Hooper and Quint. Quint is projecting this personality onto the shark that is not really there. Or I mean, maybe it is because the shark is a little bit supernatural, right? But and then you have the scientist guy who has the one line in there that all it does is eats, swims, and makes more little sharks or something like that.
All this machine does is swim and eat and make little sharks, and that's all.
So again, it's like, yeah, you see all three different ways, and then you have the chief who I don't think really gives a shit about the shark. He just wants to kill it and be done with it so that the quote unquote family is safe. And he has all these political considerations, right? Like the town will literally die if it can't open for business and et cetera, et cetera. So
it also, in the scene where they sneak into where they the original crew they caught a tiger shark earlier in the movie, which everyone thought was the real shark. And him and Hooper sneak in to go and dissect it to make sure that little boy is in its stomach to verify if it's the real shark. It's very, very brief, but he has a moment where he's kind of drunk and he's talking about how, when I was a cop in New York City, it's just craziness and you nothing ever gets done. But in a town like this, you can really accomplish something. So him going after the shark was like, okay, this town is faced with a problem they've never had before. Can I or can I not solve it?
Mm-hmm.
There's a sense of duty, I mean, wouldn't you say?
Right.
I mean, that the focus on Brody's character is very much about him as a father and a husband and like a leader, right? I think again, part of what makes this Jaws so good is that it's one story three different ways all at the same time. It's like it's I don't know if that makes sense. Maybe it's because I'm older than you guys. You guys are like, I don't care.
Yeah, well,
I like that shark kills people.
Yeah, well, Brody, like as I said with his character, can never really relax properly because
That's what I mean.
he
Yeah,
has to be the one who always reacts first to save people, and that's something really endearing about his
he's the
character.
metaphorical dad.
Yeah, of not just his kids, but of the whole community.
Right. That's what I mean. Yeah, exactly. And then he's juggling a guy that just wants to kill everything, and then this dude that wants to study everything. But
Yeah,
Yeah,
and in the beginning, there's this kind of learning curve where he leaves the big city and he's kind of left the bureaucracy, but then he quickly finds out that he doesn't have the absolute authority that he thought he did as the chief of police on this tiny island community because he starts putting no swimming, there's a shark, and the mayor comes in and all these officials from like City Hall come in and they're like, you can't do that, you don't have the proper authority. We're a summer town. Like people come here on vacation in the summer. That's how we keep the lights on in the winter. If you do this, you're going to drive down business. And so he's kind of caught between a rock and a hard place dealing with an actual problem of a shark, which eventually does come swim up and bite somebody on the ass.
Well, I do want to point out that even the mayor is not black and white and not necessarily a bad guy. I mean, I know it's unsavory and he's presented as this unsavory sort of scheming, money-driven guy. But even it's not so much the money. I think he's right. If that tiny town gets a reputation as it has a shark and shark attacks, all of those businesses are gone. Like that really will happen. And it's true enough that even Chief Brody is kind of like, all right, we can't just, you're kind of like making a point until it, becomes too obvious. But if you think like it's uh, Spielberg, because the mechanical shark sucked so bad, a big part of that was he realized he needed to have like everything else be as natural as possible to kind of accommodate for the goofiness of the shark. And so even like 20 years ago when I first watched Jaws, I thought all the politicking at the beginning was bullshit, and I literally like fast forward to the part where they get on the boat, and that's all the part of the movie I needed. But now at almost 40 years old, that setup and the like, put yourself in that situation. You're some tourist town, and something like that happens. If you're 20 years old, you're like, yeah, tell everybody and let's shut down and let's go kill this shark. But if you're 40 years old, you're like that is killing more people than the shark would in a way, right?
Yeah, a lot of people don't fixate on or focus in on this, but the mayor is an elected official who is invoking the will or just acting in accordance to what the people who elected him want
True,
to
because
do.
there's that business owner meeting. Yeah, it's not like it's only coming from him. He's beholden to his all these, and they're like, he's not the only one saying you can't shut down the beach.
Yeah, and I believe like this was filmed by Martha's Vineyard.
It was.
Yeah, so there you go. Like that parallels a lot with Martha's Vineyard of today. It's a wealthy tourist town that will say certain things that are pretty like politically correct, but in a lot of ways don't practice what they preaches. A lot of viewers can probably understand where I'm going with that, but take it that what you will.
I mean, there was a real world thing in Disney World not too long ago, I believe, where like an alligator popped out of a fucking lake and ate some kid. Do you remember that?
I was there when that happened.
You the alligator?
Yes. No, that happened. I remember that the kid was playing in the water at night, which they had gator nets, but guess they
Well, I'm
didn't
just
take.
saying like that. It's nobody. Disney's like it's a freak thing, and blah
Right.
blah. But it's this similar concept. Obviously, people still go to Disney World because you can do that without swimming with alligators. But it's actually like hyper realistic, in my opinion, how that opening of the movie goes, and the people advocating for keeping the beaches open. I don't think they're bad guys. And again, when it becomes obvious and consequences start to hit, the shark is like this supernatural thing that won't go away. They sort of repent and agree, like, all right, go fucking kill it.
Yeah.
But if you're the mayor and you're not a shark expert, it's the 1970s, like people thought sharks were whales, right? And then they catch this giant tiger shark, and you'd be like, yeah, that's it. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, no. I totally agree. It's one of those things where, you know how in like haunted house movies, in like demonic possession movies, people watch them and they go, "Oh man, I'm getting out of it." Like they hear a creak in the attic and they're like, "Oh, get out of there, honey. There's a ghost." It's like, well, you're watching a movie where there's a ghost. In a real life situation, if you were the kind of
He's the mayor doesn't have the same information the audience has.
right.
If you're so
Exactly. And the dude's 50 years old. He's lived there his entire life, and nothing like this has ever happened before. He probably thinks, okay, we got our one freak accident, and it's over now. There's no need to cause a panic until there is.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, that sort of adds to the suspense and tension now that I think about it, because if you're a discerning viewer, you will realize that is true at any place that's touristy that has some kind of problem. They ain't going to fucking tell you about it until they absolutely have to.
Yeah.
And that
Speaking
is very,
of Disney,
very
apparently Disney World has a policy where if someone is like really horribly wounded, they have paramedics on site, but they're Disney employees. And they basically do it to where even if their head comes off, they don't pronounce them dead until their body is removed from the premises.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's fucking sinister, man. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So,
Yep.
and that's a good just social lesson from Jaws. Just like how the sea is completely unknown, like the sea of bureaucracy, you should meet with skepticism as well, because you have no idea how these strangers are going to react.
Pretty good parallel right there, Jack.
Yeah.
The dark ocean of bureaucracy.
I was like, listen to Jack, the dark sea of bureaucracy.
I don't know. I mean,
love it.
maybe we're giving too much credit, but I mean, that seems clear, like a clear enough connection you can draw that it's intentional.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, and I don't think the bureaucracy
in
is the
some
point of
ways
the
you have
movie, but that's there.
no, but you could argue that the first half of the movie is a metaphor of Chief Brody on a boat in an ocean of people,
Yeah.
Ah, yeah.
and
I
then the
like that.
second half is the literal. So it is a really, really good movie.
My thoughts exactly. It's a fantastic film. A ton of other directors probably could have made it work, but Steven Spielberg made it a once in a lifetime opportunity, and I think it paid off.
Good deal. I think the same thing. I think, as I stated in the opening, I think it's a perfect film. Is it the best film ever made? No. But as a shark movie goes, and not so much an action, but more of a suspense thriller, couldn't have been any better. So that's our verdict on Jaws.
Yeah, they're all gonna die.
It's a must watch, wouldn't you say? It's one of those movies that you must
Yes.
see.
Yeah.
Yes.
As I said, it's a staple of American cinema because it's the American dream made manifest. A ton of guys were given a problem, they put their heads together and solved it.
Now we're going to get into our suggestion portion of the show. So, Jack, for creature feature, we got to find out who's doing red, yellow,
Wait, who's
and green.
Who spins first? I forget.
Okay. Oh, yes. Who did it last time? So I was first,
That doesn't matter that much.
which means so it's John, Jack, and then me.
I think you're right,
Okay.
actually.
Yeah. I'm really curious to see what our respective green picks are.
So if you're just watching the show, green means you got to name a better. Yellow
Yes.
is. Hey! That's
Hey!
all right.
That
Okay.
so oops, wrong baton. That means that John has the orange category. All right, that one was on purpose. That one was on purpose. I had to do it to you. So now
It's
now
my spin.
Jack.
All right.
What are you hoping for, red or green, Jack?
I could go either way, honestly.
Fair enough.
All right, green.
Hey, yeah. All right, which
Ooh.
means I am red. You can go ahead and spin it for visual
Anyway.
effect.
Give it a push anyway.
Yeah.
Only use that color for blood. It's a bit drawn out on the third one. There you go.
Yeah.
Still work.
All right. Red, which means I go first. So
Yes.
for those of you just joining, this is the portion where we do what no other movie review channel does. We talk about a movie, we endorse or not, but then based on the prompt, this week's prompt being creature feature, a movie in which people deal with a problem, typically in the form in some sort of monster or animal. We pick Jaws, but now we're getting into our suggestion portion. Red is worse than Jaws. Yellow is one that is underrated or unknown, and green is one that is better than Jaws. And like we said earlier on, I'm excited to get in the green because that was kind of difficult for me, honestly, to find. And I think I found one that's good. It's a matter of opinion, but like I said, we'll get into that. So for red, we're doing the red suggestion first. And I'm actually glad I got this one because I'm so excited to use the visuals from this movie in the final. A movie fitting the creature feature billing that is worse than Jaws is Sharktopus. And Sharktopus, excuse me. Sharktopus is a movie where scientists create a half shark, half squid hybrid for military use. It gets loose and wreaks havoc on a local beach. This is one of those just like shit straight to DVD movies like Sharknado. But I think Sharknado, that's kind of like the prime example. So I had to dig a little deeper. I had to find one of these other crappy sci-fi shark movies. And Sharktopus, unlike a lot of my other red suggestions, this is one that is absolutely terrible. It is worse than Jaws, but if you're willing to burn a Saturday and just watch a shit movie with some friends, this is the movie for you. Sharktopus is a masterpiece of just like, who made this?
Is it like, does it have any redeeming qualities at all? Like, or is it so bad it's good, or is it one of those horrible ones that's just bad?
It goes a little bit of both, where this movie is so bad. It has moments that are so bad they're good, which is what they were going for. You know, like they are trying to make it into a
Right.
so bad it's good movie, but it's like 3 hours long.
Oh my God.
And it
Goddamn,
feels like
Return of the
6 hours. Huh?
It's fun. It's a Oscar baiting like Return of the King. It's like, let's pad that runtime. Let's make it epic.
Yes, it's like what like what are we doing here, guys? This movie is way too long. There's a excuse me, I'm laughing. There's a scene in particular. Maybe I'll include it in the editing. Maybe I won't. But the acting in this movie.
Oh no! Not like this!
Ooh, it's something to write home about.
Looking forward
But
to seeing the
with
visual.
that being said, that's my recommendation for the red category. I want to hear what you guys had that's worse than Jaws.
My red pick was the entire rebooted Jurassic World franchise, although in
Oh, that's a good one.
particular Jurassic World Rebirth that just came out. Maybe it's a bit of stretch for creature feature, but Rebirth, I would say, is the closest to being a creature feature with that retarded looking, bulbous faced, stupid overbite thing. That Rebirth in particular, but I swear, even Jurassic World, which kind of people liked until the second one came out and they realized how fucking terrible it. You got dude riding on a motorcycle with trained velociraptors with that stupid clicker, and they're using him for the military. Vincent D'Onofrio must have just like needed some cocaine or something to take that fucking role. Yeah, we're gonna use raptors in the military now that we can train them to run by motorcycles. Like, if you think about anything in Jurassic World at all, it's unbearably stupid. I hate them. I hate all of the Jurassic Parks too, honestly, except for the first one with
You wish
Spielberg. So
Do you wish that they would go extinct?
yeah, dude, starts. It's the which one of the Jurassic Worlds opens with a bunch of dinosaurs running through like snow-covered mountains?
I think that was the one before.
I almost hung myself immediately.
Yeah, they're pretty bad.
I just like
I
was just
forget the name of it, but that's the third one.
kind of blacked out and then woke up like stringing my belt over my fan, and it was like looped around my neck, and I was like, "What's happening?" I just got
You-
propaganda. Dude, they're
you-
so bad.
So Rebirth, the one that came out this past July, this most recently,
Terrible.
it's so
Sorry.
funny because it's one of those where I was like, so Jurassic World was not a good sequel. Like it was not even a good movie, but
Oh.
it's enjoyable. Like I understand why like
Chris Pratt's pretty charismatic, I guess. Yeah.
the kids are terrible, and it has its moments. It has some moments of charm,
Like
but
a-
it
Yeah.
is extremely campy. Dominion and whatever the one after that is were so bad, as John said. They should have, instead of like 3D glasses, they should have given you nooses in the theater.
Yeah.
And then Rebirth, I was like, okay, those last two were so bad. This one, it's going to lean more on the sci-fi aspect of things. By the way, it definitely counts as a creature feature. But it has to be like somewhat okay. Rebirth, it felt like Sharktopus, but with a Jurassic Park budget, like with a modern
Right.
day budget.
It's a gorgeously shot film. I mean, the cinematography is great. There's pretty good special effects. That's about where it ends.
That's about where it ends.
Yeah, it's so stupid. Sorry, I didn't mean
Terrible.
to get. I'm feeling emotionally angry right now about how bad it was. I didn't mean to
They
rant
ruined your
about.
childhood.
No,
mean to rant ab-
perfect.
Not even my color. Let's
They-
move on.
They ruined your childhood like Disney did with the sequel
Jack,
trilogy.
they ruined my childhood, my adolescence, and my adulthood. Okay, what was your red pick?
Yeah. So, Josh, like your recommendation, Sharktopus, I've never heard of it, but there can be worse things because instead of a mix between a shark and an octopus, it could have been a mix between a shark and a woman. That segues into my pick. Attack of the 50-Foot Woman. And again, this could be classified as a so bad it's good movie, like your pick, Josh, because it covers the most scariest creature of them all, the woman.
Yeah. Your delivery, your delivery on that was so good. I was genuinely not expecting that from you, Jack.
The most savage beast of them all. Holy shit! Are you talking about like the original?
Yeah, from 1960. So this is about like a wealthy lady like stumbling upon a spaceship. She's like, ah! Then she goes back and tells everyone about it, and they're like, "Shut up, you dumb bitch! Like, we're gonna put you into an insane asylum if you don't prove it." And so her husband, who fucking hates her and is cheating on her and wants to kill her so he can get her inheritance, they find it and he abandons her. Where the alien like probes her or does some weird shit to her, and she's brought back to her mansion where she grows in size, so she's 50 feet, and then she becomes a crazy monster, and then she's just like, man, I hate my man, and then she like picks him up, crushes him, and then she dies. Movie over. But the whole sequence of events is pretty absurd, and like some of the supporting actors are pretty fun. Like there's this funny supporting comic relief character with glasses, and he's just like he has like a very exaggerated voice, and so he's just like wherever there's danger, he gives like a funny response. So like when he sees her, he's just like, "Holy moly, that's a big bitch." If that sounds appealing to you, then go see it. Go check out Attack of the 50.
Oh my god! I have to see this. Wait. This is the 50s one?
50s or 60s, I forget which, but Tim Burton is making a remake of it with Margot Robbie.
Oh,
Yeah. Oh, okay. I'm in.
that's a thing.
Jack.
That's
Apparently a classic, but the reason why isn't necessarily because of like any filmmaking.
Can you give me that line by the nerdy character one more time, please?
Holy mackerel, that's one big bitch. Like this, is that better?
That was so good, dude. I had to take myself off screen. I'm genuinely tickled by that. That is good. But this is a serious show, guys. No more fooling around. John,
very serious.
I want to hear your pick for the yellow category. Unknown.
All right. So my slightly lesser known one then is from 1998. It's called Deep Rising.
Deep Rising.
Deep Right? No, I don't know what this is even about.
Oh, nice. Okay, you will both enjoy this movie, I think. It is like very much a B movie. I don't know if you know who Treat Williams even is, but kind of a B movie actor. It basically it's essentially modern times. There's this cruise ship with all these rich people on it. And Treat Williams is the main character. He's sort of like a good guy, bad guy that got hired to, well, he doesn't really know what he's been hired to do, is to take these soldier-looking guys somewhere on the ocean. Well, it turns out they're modern-day pirates robbing this cruise ship. And so he sort of gets roped into accidentally being a part of them attacking the cruise ship. The plot twist comes is when they get to the ship, there's nobody there. It's totally empty. And there's no bodies or anything. So long story short is there is this like tentacled monster that has basically eaten everybody. And then there's like a few survivors they find, like, what's her name? Femke Jensen? Is that her name?
I don't know why you're asking me, because I don't know.
But I've never seen it.
The actress.
Actress Femke Jensen or something. Yeah. How old am I? Jesus Christ. It is just a fun, stupid, but not too stupid. The CGI, as I recall, is actually not bad. It aged decently. I think the final scene is they rig a bomb to blow the ship up, and he rides like a jet ski out of the ship port. Like it's fucking incredible. Like fucking Fast and Furious.
John,
it's retarded. Deep
does-
Rising, great.
Deep Rising. Okay. Does the tentacles, does like the tips of them almost look like crabs? They've got like spikes on them.
They're like mouths.
Yeah. I think I've seen clips from this, but I've not actually seen the movie. But it sounds fun.
Yeah.
Yes. So Jack, you go, then I'll go, and then we'll get to the green category.
Yeah, so John has good taste because I picked Tremors 2, or Tremors as well. Like the first Tremors, it's a franchise that has seen multiple direct-to-DVD sequels, but the first one's the best. It stars Kevin Bacon, Ben Ward, and
Fred, dog.
Huh?
That's my bro, Fred Ward.
Oh, Fred Ward, and Michael Moss, I think his name is
Bert.
Yeah.
No, that's a character's name.
The character's name. Like Bert is the character who's like the most consistent across all the films. But what Tremors is, it can be seen as a film franchise that's directly inspired from, or takes several inspirations from Jaws, and not only its monsters, despite not being sharks, but also just how it's done. It's done on a technical level because they don't show the monsters like frequently all throughout the film. They use practical effects to simulate the monsters to save money, which is really smart, and it keeps the same plot structure of Jaws, where the same 3-act structure, where the first act, like I said at the start, there's danger. The danger becomes apparent, and then the characters do something about it. So yeah, it's a pretty great creature feature. It doesn't surpass Jaws in any way, but it's a great homage to that film.
It's quite a bit funnier, I would say.
Yeah,
than Jaws is.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
A bunch of redneck characters, like Kevin. Like I said, they're all giving pretty comedic performances, and that it's pretty charming in its own way that makes revisiting the film very memorable. Like Bert, as we mentioned, he's like one of the only positive depictions I've seen of a doomsday prepper.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so he always rubs off on me.
You broke into the wrong goddamn rec room.
Yeah, and then it just slowly the camera slowly pans to like a wall of guns.
Yes, that's got to be like one of the fucking best scenes I've ever seen.
Yeah, great movie. Great.
And his wife is Reba McEntire, of all people, the country singer.
Yeah,
young Reba McEntire.
Very, very funny movie. That's definitely one of my top 10 creature features. I wouldn't call it a guilty pleasure. That movie's just great. I love it.
Yeah.
So my pick for the yellow category, it's like not billed as a creature feature, but I still count it because it involves a creature, and it's a 1997 movie with, what's his name? Sir Anthony Hopkins and Alec Baldwin, called The Edge. And I don't know what it is with this movie. It's not even like a great film, but I love it for some reason. Maybe because they kill a bear and I hate bears. But what it is so it's a movie where they fight a bear, where basically these guys, there's some tension between them because Sir Anthony Hopkins' character is a billionaire, and Alec Baldwin, he suspects, is cheating with his supermodel wife. Then they're going out on a trip in like an airplane over the Rocky Mountains. They get hit by a flock of geese, crash in the middle. No one knows where they are, and they have to survive until they find civilization. And early on, they have an encounter with a grizzly bear who then pursues them throughout the whole movie till eventually they have to face off with him. So kind of a lesser known movie, but it is genuinely enjoyable. It's one of my personal favorites. Again, I wouldn't submit it for like film of the year, but it is a very entertaining watch, very suspenseful and scary at times.
Okay, I'll check it out.
I'm ashamed to say I've never heard of that one, so I will
really,
check it out.
Yeah, The Edge.
It doesn't ring a bell.
It's very good. I really enjoy it. I think you guys will genuinely like it. And I'm glad that this is probably my first yellow pick that I'm actually going off of it's unknown rather than it's just like a
Fair enough.
like equal to the original, but with that being said, we're going to now transition into the green portion. These are our positive recommendations, movies that we feel are better than Jaws. So without further ado, Jack, what was your pick?
Yeah, so there are very few films, especially in the creature feature genre, that I would say are better than Jaws. But what I went with is a classic. It's the original Godzilla film. Because it has everything. It pretty much is Jaws, but on a grander scale. Because instead of this isolated town, it's the whole of Japan as they struggle to come up with a way of dealing with this massive threat that is Godzilla. And this is the social commentary has been done to death at this point. But yeah, Godzilla is supposed to be an allegory for nuclear warfare. I wouldn't say it's necessarily like trying to take pot shots at the United States specifically, but just nations as a whole that use nuclear warfare and this impending doom of how we use them in the future. So yeah, it gave birth to this massive franchise that is Godzilla. I think there are like over 30 films at this point. A lot of them, admittedly, are duds to me, especially the American ones that don't really focus on they don't really flesh out the human characters as much. They in favor of the spectacle of the monster fights. But in the original, there is humanity to be found. There is something beautiful to be found in all of these people working together to solve a common problem. And at its heart, I think that's what creature features are pretty well known for, and what they're all about.
Well, I would definitely count Godzilla as a creature feature. I've never seen the original because to me, look, there's a threshold. Some of these movies from the 50s, it's like, oh, it's a classic, and I'm like, I got it. Like I don't need to watch that.
I will say that if you're looking for Godzilla specifically, you're not going to be super impressed by the technical aspects, but in terms of like human performances, I think it still holds up.
Which is funny because I had a buddy, he would go through phases. He would go through phases where he was obsessed with things. Like one year it was werewolf movies. The next it was one year it was Godzilla movies. So he would give me the DVDs of like Godzilla versus King Ghidorah, Godzilla versus Mothra, and I hated them. They were so long and boring, and they were in Japanese. So I was like, what's going on? So that's why I didn't want to watch the original, but I know that, like you said, the subtext of, Japan after World War II, that's kind of a big part of it.
Yeah, if you want a more newer Godzilla film recommendation, I would actually say Godzilla -1 or Shin Godzilla from 2017. Those are some good picks if you haven't seen those too.
I saw -1 and thought it was I thought it was good.
Yeah,
I liked it.
I'll go ahead to save the best for last, John, for the green category. So my pick for the green, I almost didn't pick it because I was like, does this really count as a creature feature? But screw it, I'm doing it anyway. And my pick for the green category is John Carpenter's The Thing.
Great pick.
yeah.
Great
Yeah,
pick.
I love it
See
because.
why
Go ahead.
I can see why you picked it, because knowing you, that's the film you're the most passionate about.
Yes, I love The Thing. It'll probably be my green in future videos, depending on whatever the prompt is. But I count it as a creature feature, even though the creature does not have a definite form. A alien shapeshifter has crash landed on Earth thousands of years ago in Antarctica, and then unfrozen by a team of scientists out in Antarctica and wreaks havoc on their base. It is a fun movie all around and scary.
Mm-hmm.
John.
Another thing. Oh, I'm
Oh,
sorry,
go ahead.
John.
Go ahead.
Oh, just one last thought for the thing. It does like the theme of distrust of not being able, like the common human problem that everyone can relate to, of not knowing who to trust. That also plays it rhymes with that aspect that we were discussing with Jaws before, with the mayor and bureaucracy. Just something I wanted to point out.
It's also not too far off from a one-room movie if you think about it. A little bit of isolation there, where everything just kind of happens in one spot.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
also rhymes with Jaws in regards to the sea and isolation.
Part of it for sure, yeah.
I almost think the reason I would not count it as one room is because John Carpenter intentionally did not have like tracking shots to give you a layout of the base. That way, whenever you were in a room, you had no idea where it was, adding to the audience's sense of, I don't know what's going on. There was no comfort in knowing what part of the base you were in. So yeah.
No, I think that's a great pick. Don't watch the remake; it's terrible. But the
Yeah.
original John Carpenter one is it's still good. And I mean, come on, Kurt Russell, let's go.
Hell yeah, dude. That great Kurt Russell movie also. But John, last but not least, what is your green pick?
My green pick, I mean, better than Jaws. It's different enough that I think they're in different categories. One of my all-time favorite movies ever, period, Predator, 1987.
Yes, I love it too.
Not for everybody. Not for everybody. And by everybody, and not the people it's not for, is mostly women. But it's definitely for dudes. Yes, it's campy. Yes, there's some ridiculous moments in it. Yes, Arnold Schwarzenegger must have been just like drinking steroids by the gallon in that whole, all those dudes were fucking chugging steroids. Got Jesse, there's two governors in this movie. You got Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jesse Ventura became governor of Minnesota, if you didn't know. But once again, they managed to appropriately use the technique of suggesting the monster rather than showing it. It is one of the very, very few movies, I'd say maybe Predator and Alien, Ridley Scott's original Alien, where the monster lives up to the hype when you do finally see it. And yes, it's probably the down part of that movie is when they do the raid and then Arnold Schwarzenegger starts doing his little one-liners, like he throws a knife at a guy and goes, "Stick around."
Stick around.
Or fucking Jesse Ventura's like, "I don't got time to bleed." Like, yeah, there's just some retarded shit like that. But outside of those weird 80s action movie stuff, this was like the 80s action movie as far as I'm concerned. Definitely creature feature-wise. There's nothing else like it. It too spawned a gigantic franchise, all of which are terrible. But that original one, Carl Weathers, oh my God, there's so much cool about Predator. So
What's the matter? The CIA got you pushing too many pencils?
that's fucking great. That's really good. Honestly. Yeah, dude, I don't know. It's it works. Dude, it's got Shane Black is acting in it of all things too. Yeah, I don't know. It just worked out really good.
Is Shane Black the one that goes, "So I went down on my girlfriend and said, geez, you got a big pussy. Geez, you got a big pussy."
Yeah.
I mentioned this in my latest video, but Predator has some fantastic foreshadowing, especially with how all the characters, a lot of the characters eventually die, because you can the Predator uses their their qualities against them, and I'm not going to spoil it. I want everyone to notice it for themselves on a rewatch if you guys have already seen it before. But again, yeah, it's a fantastic movie. And unfortunately, we don't get too many movies like that anymore because we can't just get straightforward action movies. We have to have like some sort of action, like unfunny jokes sprinkled in, and or some romantic subplots. It's a shame.
What do they call it? No more dick flicks. We're not allowed to have those anymore.
Yeah.
Nope, they can't swing them around anymore.
Yep.
Jack, get your mind out of the gutter talking about 50-foot women fetishes and swinging dicks. What's wrong with you, man? This is a family-friendly affair.
They really don't make movies anymore, though. The dudes would all be like kissing each other and doing gay shit.
Yeah, that shot of Carl Weathers and Arnold Schwarzenegger where they like arm lock and are like air arm wrestling, and there's just this like pornographic shot of only their hands and biceps. It's like,
Holy shit, were they doing a lot of steroids back then, man?
yes, and I don't know where they filmed this movie, but I guarantee there was a couple delays in filming because the director was like going at them with a mic. What is it called? A microscope? No, what's the other one I'm thinking of? A looking glass, a magnifying glass, and going, they're not sweaty enough.
Probably run around with fucking spray bottles.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, Predator, great movie. So that wraps our suggestion portion of the show. Now we got to get into what are we going to talk about next week. So I'm going to go ahead and spin our wheel. All right. And our category for next week is divisive ending.
Ooh, okay.
All right. So next week, divisive endings right here on Real Talk. Thank you for joining us. Go check out my co-panelist channels, Jack, aka Kinoflex, and John Ward of John Ward Cinematics. You can also check out my channel. I'm Joshua Vandernoord. Links are in the description. Go check out some of our other content on the New American Vision Network. But with that being said, this has been another edition of Real Talk, and we will catch you next week.